This is the WHTC Morning News with Gary Stevens and Peg McNichol on 99.7, 1450 WHTC and WHTC.com.
And we welcome you back to WHTC Morning News for this Tuesday, July 6th. Tuesday mornings, we catch up with what's going on in Washington with one of the two men who represent the Lakeshore in the U.S. House. He is Republican House Representative Fred Upton of St. Joseph. He joins us via the Zoom connection from his base of operations in St. Joe. Fred, good morning. Hopefully all is well with you and your family as you enjoy the week off before you go back to work. I would think go back to work next week.
Well, actually, we're out this week and next week, so I don't go back till that obviously till that following week. Hope you had a great Fourth. It's always one of my special holidays. We were lucky. I've got my son and his expecting wife as well as her parents here with us. So we had a really busy time, and the weather broke wonderful. Only one parade this year, so but what a nice holiday.
It was a good holiday, and hopefully it was a safe one. I know we've had some incidents that's been reported with fireworks, but for the most part, it's been safe. But people are still, getting sick because of COVID-19. Pretty much now, most of the cases, most of the fatalities coming from the variant that originated in India. Now, do not stigmatize anybody. It's the Delta variant, and we're sort of stalled out on these vaccinations. I know you are a big proponent of getting vaccinated.
Well, I am, and I've been watching the numbers. I'll get an update a little bit later this morning as well. Some of our counties, Kalamazoo is my largest county. They're actually above the state average in terms of first and second being fully vaccinated, because, of course, you have the J&J vaccination, you only need one. But a lot of my other counties are even double digits below the state average, which is not good. And some news that came out over the weekend was that of the deaths from COVID in June, 99.2% of those were folks who had not been vaccinated. So, folks, it's free. There's no supply issue here, but let's get this and hopefully these numbers get better in the weeks ahead.
Investigation into the origins of the COVID-19 strain continues. Are we getting any progress at all, or are we still sort of getting some stonewall action from Peking, from Beijing, and the Chinese on this?
Well, I'm not satisfied at all with the results or the answers to any of the questions that we've posed to China. The WHO, the World Health Organization, has not been able to get answers. I'm not sure how hard they pushed. I know that there's a lot of angst among my colleagues, rightly so, that, all right, this has been on for some time. We haven't been able to get people there, and we haven't been able to get inspectors there, and we haven't been able to get answers to our questions, which only leads to the answer that, yes, maybe they are really hiding something, that this was developed in a lab versus what they call a wet market, animal-to-animal contact. I know that our Energy and Commerce, a number of us on the Energy and Commerce Committee met last week with the former CDC director. He shared some information. We've been privy to some classified reports. I'm one that's calling for those reports to be made fully public, and we'll see what happens. But, as they say, where there's smoke, there's fire.
And getting cooperation sometimes is kind of tough with, shall we say, types of government that is entrenched right now and has been entrenched since World War II in mainland China. How concerned are you about a tweet that was sent out by your colleague from Kentucky, Thomas Massey, who said that members of the U.S. military have contacted him saying they will quit if they're forced to get a COVID-19 vaccine? How much do you put in that tweet, and should that be a concern?
Well, that's first I've heard about the tweet. It's not, as you think about it, we have to be prepared. I think science has proved that this is overwhelmingly safe. it depends what type of duty that they have, but particularly if China is behind this, it was developed as a weapon against whether it be democracies like ours or our military. So maybe it needs a little bit more study, but I'm not aware of the tweet or of a decision by the Pentagon. Generally, I've been against forced vaccinations. I don't think that ought to be mandatory. So I guess you have to see how this unfolds.
It leads me to another point about our volunteer army. And we've had a volunteer army since the 80s, since the 70s, for the most part, yes, we have selective service, but we've not had a draft since the Vietnam War era. And we've done okay in terms of having an all volunteer army. But when you get volunteers dropping out, well, let's put it this way, it does hurt us defensively.
Well, remember, first of all, I support the all-volunteer army. It's worked well. We've raised, as we should have, raised benefits. We need to make sure that we take care of our veterans. That's for sure. But we need to, that's the type of service that we need. It's worked well. There's not a lot of folks, including me, that think that the draft ought to come back. And as long as we, make the benefits something that incentivizes people to sign up, I think we're in good shape.
One final thing. Today is July 6th. 6 months ago, you were in Washington when the events happened at the U.S. Capitol. There's talk about getting a committee set up in the House. Efforts to try to get a joint congressional committee have sort of stalled. How closer are we about trying to make sure that everything is known about what happened on January 6th in all aspects of the matter?
Well, as you know, as you look at the history of this, I think many of us wanted an independent, bipartisan, or even nonpartisan commission to get to the facts. That didn't want members of Congress who might have some political persuasion to use this as an angle, but to really get to the bottom of it. The Speaker Pelosi initially had a partisan commission. It was going to be 9 to 5. I came out against that, rightly so. We pushed her to have an independent commission. We passed that in the House. It failed in the Senate to get the 60 votes. So now we're back to where we started. The Speaker has indicated she's going to have a partisan commission. It's going to be made up of members of Congress. Doesn't have a deadline like we had in the plan that I just described to finish by the end of the year. So you try to take it out of the election stuff. And as a consequence, I don't know how this is going to play out. I don't know which Republicans, are going to serve on this. Liz Cheney is one that is a Republican colleague. But we'll see how this plays out. This all broke this last week. So we'll see what happens when Congress comes back in 2 weeks. We do have a little bit of breaking news, and that is the Problem Solvers Caucus this morning embraced the Senate package on infrastructure. So we took literally $1 trillion off the table. This is a bipartisan plan that we think that we can get to the president. A lot of work now is moving forward, and I hope we can get this thing done. As I told the president last week, if we can't do this, what is going to happen that's bipartisan? So we're anxious to see this thing move forward. And obviously with the Bipartisan Problem Solvers Caucus formally endorsing this as we did this morning keeps me happy.
That is a stumbling block, a hurdle that has been cleared towards getting some needed money for roads and bridges and infrastructure in the United States. Fred Upton, Congressman from St. Joseph, as always, we appreciate your time with us on WHTC Morning News every Tuesday morning. And if all goes well, let's do this again next Tuesday morning. Thank you, sir.
Forward to it.
Thank you very much, Fred Upton, on 99.7 and 1450 WHTC.